is I'll give you some of the basics, some of the things that I have learned in just working with Upwork. So we're going to go over to my screen here. Okay, so as with as with any freelance marketplace, not so much the pay to plays because you can't really search for talent as a talent in most of the pay to plays. And when I say pay to play, I mean like voices.com, voice123. But on freelance marketplaces, you can usually have a profile that will let you sell and buy. So you have the ability to search as either a buyer or a seller. So I would say set up your profile. But before you start setting up a seller profile, go in as a buyer. And you can do that on your dashboard here. If you look up at the search bar, you can search for either talent, projects, or jobs. So that means you can search as either a buyer or a seller. So as a buyer, you're looking for talent. So switch it to talent. And then I've already got voiceover in there, but if you start punching in words, much like Fiverr does, just like Google, it has the same sort of a search engine within that search bar. Obviously, it's a search bar, but it'll start pre-filling words or terms that are searched for most often. So if we're just typing in voice, we get voiceover, voice actor, voice talent, male voiceover, and YouTube voiceover. So those are some of the most searched terms with the word voice in it. And what I want you to do is to take note of these words because obviously these words are being searched for quite a bit. So you want those words in your profile, right? So that way people can find you. So let's just try voiceover as one word maybe, and let's see what comes up. Okay, so if we type in voiceover as one word, you get voiceover artist, YouTube voiceover, Spanish voiceover, Swedish voiceover, and voiceover is two words. So again, make note of that. Voiceover as one word is being searched for. Let's try audio. Audio B is what I stopped at. But anyway, audiobook narrator came up. Audio editor, audio transcription, audio book, and auditor. Okay. Let's just finish that and see. Oh, okay, so audiobook editing comes up. Audiobook producer, female audiobook narrator. Interesting. I might be updating my profile today. So these are some great words to be sure if you do offer voiceover and audiobook production to be sure to add these words if they apply into your profile. Now the next thing that I want to show you is that when a buyer is searching for these particular freelancers, how those results are presented to them. So I've already got voiceover as my search, right? So this is what I've got. These are the results that I've got. So this is the title of their profile. And if you have a profile already started on Upwork, then you know what I mean. This is the title of your profile. Make note of the words they're using here too. And it is a relatively short amount of characters that you can have in there for your title. So you want to make sure that it's clear, succinct, to the point. In her case, professional female American voiceover artist. Joel up here had voiceover artist as two words, voiceover artist, professional female voiceover artist. Voiceover as one word, interesting. Voiceover as two words, professional voiceover talent. Voiceover as one word, artist. Interesting. Okay, so I'm making note of those. It looks like voiceover as two words is coming up more often. Voiceover artist to be specific. And then also, if you have an Upwork profile, then you know there's a big description box that gives you a little bit of room to write out your experience, what you can offer the client. But when you're being searched, that description is super truncated, right? You only see the first two lines of that description. And people going through this as buyers, they're going to be looking at probably just a couple of factors. Perhaps your job success rate, perhaps your hourly rate, perhaps the intro video that is now available on there to look at. And then also those first two lines of your description. So if there's something that you specialize in, something that you want to highlight that could be a good selling point for someone to entice someone to click on your profile, make sure that information is in those first two lines of your description because you want them to click on your profile, right? And hopefully, once they click on your profile, they will send you an invitation to interview for the job versus you having to find the job yourself, if it's even listed, and bid on it and spend those connects. Now, for those of you that don't know, Upwork is in a lot of ways like Fiverr, if you're more familiar with Fiverr, but the main difference between the two is that Upwork has sort of an in-game currency, is the best way to describe it. They have what they call connects. And connects are like coins, basically. When you first sign up with Upwork and you take the free membership level, they give you, I believe, 50 connects to start out with for free. And then if you want to purchase more, they're about 15 cents each, if memory serves. So when you go through it after you finish your profile and completely fill it out, trust me, everywhere you go, any platform you're on, take the time to completely fill it out 100%. And we'll get back to that later. But once you're searching for a job to send a proposal on, each one of those jobs, here, let's just check one out so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's switch this to jobs. And let's just make it voiceover. And let's just select voiceover and see what comes up. Okay. I'm actually glad we went this way to show you, just so you can see what to look for and what to perhaps skip. But let's see, which one do we want to click on here? Reading ad script repeatedly. All right, let's just do this one, just for the sake of this video. So this job is 30 seconds of adult female voiceover required for a commercial spot. Emotional and dramatic style. So let's just click on that. Now, it looks like they posted this job about an hour ago. It is open worldwide. Let's see. So this client has got 16 previous jobs. It looks like for whatever reason it's cut off here. Why is it cut off here? But anyway, if I wanted to apply to this job, make sure that it's sharing the right screen. There we go. Okay. It'll tell you how many of those connects it's going to cost you to... Actually, let's take that poll thing off the screen. Forgot to take that off. Sorry about that. So you can see, I'll highlight it up here again. It'll cost you 11 connects to bid on this job. Now, jobs, from my personal experience, will cost you anywhere between 5 and I've seen them as high as 20 connects to apply to or to bid on. So having a compelling enough profile on your own so people find you and send you an invitation to interview is ideal, because to interview for the job when they approach you will cost you 0 connects, will cost you none of those connects at all. The only time you're going to be spending connects is when you are bidding on a job. When you go job searching, you find something and you want to apply for it. So that is why taking the time to really focus on your profile is important, because you don't want to have to pay those connects, right? You want to keep them for when You want to go out and find something on your own. All right, so let's go back to the job here and make sure it's on the right screen. Okay, so now when you are going out to bid on a job, the things that you want to look for. Let's go back to this main screen here, going back up to the top. What I look for before I even consider the job is not only is the job something that I can do? Is the job something like this, which I just do not do? I mean, what you do with your voice is your own prerogative, but I do not do anything for AI machine learning. I just don't. But if you're looking at a job that perhaps is something, in your wheelhouse, something that you're interested in doing, what I would look for is at the very least that this client has their payment method verified. Now, some people join and then because they have a job that needs to be done and they're in the middle of filling out their own profile, as we all know, that takes time. There could be a time where their payment method is unverified. But for my own peace of mind, I only stick with clients that have a verified payment method, meaning that it's locked in, right? It's locked in. I know I'm going to get paid. Now, it looks like this client is brand new. They haven't spent any money here on this platform yet, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being there first. However, it is a little bit, going back to this AI guy, it looks like he's already spent $2,000 on this platform, but has not got any reviews yet. This client has spent, I want to say that's K, but I think that's is that $7.04? I don't think that's right, but they do have reviews and you can go in, one feedback. So maybe it is $7.40. I don't know. That I've never seen that before. But you can read the feedback on the client and get an idea of who they are, how they are to work with, that kind of a thing. But going back to this one, we can look a little bit deeper into this. You can see where they're located. You can see their rating and how many people rated them. You can see how many jobs they have posted, how many are open, and how many they have hired here on this site. I think we already said this, but how much they've already spent. So they've done a lot of business here on Upwork. They've done a lot. They know how it goes. They know what to expect. So the working on this platform expectation is pretty much set, right? It looks like they have already hired 21 people. They have 10 that are active, meaning they might have open contracts for them, like that's continuing ongoing work. What kind of company it is and how many people are basically working there, and then how long they've been a member. So using all this information will give you a lot of insight into who you're working with. So let's just say, for example, you come to this page and you see they've been members of Upwork since July of last year, and their payment method is still unverified. They have no ratings. I might move on. I might move on to a different client. That's not a risk I'm willing to take, because what does that tell you, right? I mean, no shade, but I mean, if you're looking at it as a business owner, which you should be, because you are, yeah. I don't really hold the 4.7 star rating against them because not everybody is going to be satisfied all the time. You know that as a business owner, you just can't. Everything is not going to go well 100% of the time. But it's better than a 2.7 review, right? Or rating. Going back to this job itself, now I have the Plus membership, so I have a little bit more information available to me than versus the basic profile. But I can see that what they're looking for is someone who works less, this job is going to require less than 30 hours a week. The project length is about a month or less. They're looking for an intermediate experience level, and we'll get into that in a moment. And then their hourly rate that they're willing to pay is between $15 and $40 an hour. And that is another thing. I'm going to touch on that before I forget, but that is another thing. And Fiverr just started to do this with the hourly rate. But Upwork has always been mostly hourly rate versus project, like full project, like a one-time fee. What's the word I'm looking for? I think you know what I'm talking about. And now Fiverr has now started to integrate their hourly rate. But if you do get a job on Upwork, and it doesn't really apply to us as voiceover artists because we don't really work per hour, we charge per word, right? So it's a whole different structure. So most of the time we're going to be looking for work that we can send them like just one amount, or work in milestones if you need to. But it's very rare they're going to be working by the hour. But if you do get a job and the client's adamant about working by the hour, and because it has happened once or twice in my tenure on this platform, but there is a separate app that you can download for Upwork that tracks your time. You download it to your desktop, and it will, once you start working on that project, you click start, right? And you select which job you're doing, and it'll start tracking your time. But just know that that app will also take random screenshots to send to the client. So you can't just start the timer and then go eat lunch, or, play video games or something and run out the timer. You can't do that. It'll take random timed screenshots to make sure that you're doing what you say you're doing, and then send those off to the client. I didn't know that, so I'm telling you that it does that. Not that I was doing something that I shouldn't be doing, but just so you know. It'll also show you, I believe, also for the basic profile, it'll also show you how many proposals have already been sent in on this job. In this case, there's been less than 5. The client seems to be pretty active viewing the proposals. It looks like they were just here 13 minutes ago looking or reviewing the auditions or the bids already sent in. But it looks like they haven't found anybody that's like in the running yet, nor have they sent out any direct interviews, as I mentioned before, where they reach out to you and then send you an invitation to interview. It looks like none have been sent because there are even none unanswered. So it looks like they're solely looking for people to come to them on this one. And you can also get a good idea of what kind of other jobs that they have booked here on this site too, which is kind of interesting to see what kind of jobs that they're looking for. You can save this job, like if you don't have time to audition perhaps right this minute, you can always save the job and then come back to all of your saved jobs later and then decide which ones you want to spend your connects on, right? You could do that too. But definitely take the time to look at all of these things before you just willy-nilly submit jobs and spend those connects. Because as you know, they cost money. They're not free. Well, the first 50 are, but after that, they're not. In terms of the membership plans, as I mentioned before, there is the basic account, which is free. You can buy, yes, it's 15 cents plus tax for each of the connects. They do give you an hourly protection to make sure that you're paid for each hour worked when you use that app I mentioned before that tracks time and screenshots your screen. If you do that, then they will make sure that you get paid for that time that you're tracking. Fixed price payments are secured through milestones. That's mostly what we do for audiobook and voiceover is fixed price is what I was looking for. Fixed price payments, meaning like lump sum. 5% service fee when you bring new clients to Upwork through direct contacts, and they are limited reports and functionality. I have the Plus. Currently, it's $20 a month. I get 100 new connects every month, and they expire, I think, every year. So I lose, 100 connects a month in a year from now if I don't use them. I think I had like 1,200. I thought I saw. So I have quite a bit of connects to go use, which I probably should go use. Full access to their new AI, which I haven't used either. You can see competitor bids for the jobs, which kind of helps. I was hoping to see one of those earlier, but you can see what everybody else is bidding, or like a range of what everybody else is bidding, so you get an idea of, is the bid I'm sending in too high, too low? Is it, pretty much the same as everybody else? Bringing new clients to Upwork. You can customize your profile, so on and so forth. But the most advantageous part of this, I think, is having the connects, but you're essentially paying for them anyway. $20 a month, you're paying for 100 of them a month. What else? Oh, that's what I wanted to mention. When you're filling out your profile, let's go to my profile. And then we'll get to the comments and answer your questions. Your rate. I'm trying like different hourly rates, and I know we're voice actors. We don't really work with hourly rates, but that's the way Upwork is sort of set up. That's the way they are structured. They're more focused on hourly rate. But the hourly rate that you choose will help the buyer determine if you're a beginner, an intermediate, or an expert. Now, remember just a few minutes ago when we were looking at that job where the client was looking for someone intermediate, meaning that your hourly rate falls within a certain range, right? So a beginner is someone that is, their hourly rate is, I think it was between $10 and $25 an hour. An intermediate is someone to be within $25 to, I believe, $60 or $65 an hour. And then an expert is $65 an hour plus. So when a client selects that option, I'm looking for someone who is intermediate, they're going to be shown freelancers within that price range. So if you want to be making those, expert type rates, then you need to make sure that your hourly rate fits within that range, if that makes sense. Or if you're just starting out on Upwork and just like every other platform, you're looking for that social proof, you want those reviews, then start out as a beginner, but be sure that your hourly rate falls within $10 and I believe it's $25 an hour. That way you're shown to people who are looking for that beginner rate, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything, but let's go over to the comments. And if you guys have any specific questions about anything that I just went through or anything else, then we'll address it then. But let's go to the comments really quick, because I see there are